everyone, and today is a fantastic Sunday morning right here from Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. It is the fourth and final day of the Global Online Women Empowerment Summit. My name is Aria. As you can see, if you've been following our sessions yesterday, I've traded in my funky, suave-looking jacket and digs, and now I'm wearing my gym gear. Now, the reason for that is obviously, as they say, a healthy mind needs a healthy body, and that's what we're going to focus on right this morning. And with me is my good friend Linora Low, who is a lifestyle content creator, wellness coach, Under Armour, and Live ASP,
Learn ASP.
Learn ASP ambassador. So, Linora, obviously, fitness has encompassed so many aspects, but since we're talking about women and empowerment, I know for a fact that a lot of women has misconception about fitness, especially strength and resistance training. They tend to be more cardio-centric. Now,
Yeah.
you've obviously been doing this, something you've been very passionate about for many, many years. Can you share with us a bit more insights into that?
First of all, I would think it's normal that people would divert into the hit in the cardio. Oh, before that, hi guys. Thank you so much to Raj and to everyone here for having me on to actually share bits and pieces about the thing I'm really passionate about, which is health and wellness. So coming back to your question of the thing is females, there is a misconception because girls in general just don't want to look bulky.
Don't want to look like a man.
Yeah, because I think when it comes to health and wellness, a lot of females don't consider that we actually have nearly the same anatomy as a guy, which is the muscles. Okay, we all have muscles, and we all should actually be training them as often as possible. And I think with girls, because the perception is you gotta be softer, you shouldn't look too muscular, feminine.
Yes.
So that's why you should not do heavyweight training. And this is something that has been going on for many years. It doesn't matter when in like the Twiggy days or whatever kind of supermodel
Yep.
ANTM kind of days, it's still prevalent even now. Girls are still a little bit hesitant to
Yep.
do weight training, but I think that's changing. In my circle anyway, I see a lot more girls are changing their perception about what exactly is weight training and resistance training, which is really very important, which we'll get into in a short while.
Right. And also the other aspect, while we both have muscles in that sense, but in terms of hormones, obviously we're very different. Like women,
Yes.
estrogen, men, testosterone. And in that sense, it is very difficult for women, no matter how much they work out, to bulk up like a guy, right?
I would say it's not just a combination of the hormones. Also, for girls, they don't understand their body. Most of the time, I think the main problem here is not main problem. I say the main lack of awareness is understanding the capabilities of your body and what your body type is. So girls all just, I think generally most people think like, oh, girls, they're going to be very slim, and if you train the way you like a guy would, you're going to end up looking like him. But then that's where girls don't understand, or other some people don't understand that there's such a thing called somatypes. So somatypes is where you got three different body types,
That's
which
right.
is the ectomorph, the mesomorph, and the endomorph. Yeah, you know it, right?
A little bit.
You know
yeah.
it, yeah. So by understanding what those body types are, basically it's the ectomorph are people like Raj, who is honestly very lean, very
Yes.
slim, very tall, very lengthy.
Can't put on weight, can't bulk up, unfortunately.
Possible too. Possible
Yeah.
too. We'll get
Got to.
yeah.
Okay, great.
Exactly. And then you got the mesomorph, which is a very athletic build. And then you got the endomorph, who are a little bit stockier and they can pack on a lot of muscle, but they can also put on fat very easy. So the meso and the endo can put on fat very easy, but they can also have a lot of muscle at the same time. And it's just finding out which category, well, to put it, not everyone is a single category.
Yep.
You're going to overlap, but by understanding what your body type is, what your and how your body is made to move and to function, it would help a lot more. And from there, girls may not think so much like, oh, if I do weight training, it's going to cause me to look like a guy.
Yeah.
In fact, it's very important that you do it because you need to strengthen the muscles that you have for all your daily activity. And what we were talking about cardio and HIIT, right?
That's right.
So I understand because I used to come from that background too, where I was like a hit bunny.
Yep.
Not even cardio bunny, it's hit bunny. Okay. Everything was about hit. And that's also another thing which I would talk about, that hit is also a misconception. Everybody thinks that they're doing hit, but if you really truly do hit, which stands for high intensity interval training, you should actually be dying in those few seconds. So usually a hit workout is, say, 20 seconds on, and then sorry, let's say it's 30 seconds on and then 1 full minute of rest, because it's a half to one ratio,
That's
or
right.
a 1 to 1 ratio. You need full recovery if you're doing a hit workout. So most of the time we're doing like 40 seconds on, 20 seconds off.
Yeah.
40 seconds of work and then 20 seconds of work. And that's more like a, what do they call it? Medium in
Not as full on, right? That one
not
is
as
still.
full on. Yeah, you're able to recover.
That's right.
But any case, that aside, I used to be that kind of person where I would do that because I thought that was how you should train. That's how girls should train. You should pick up really light weights and just go for many, 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 many reps until your arm falls off,
That's
kind
true.
of thing. Or you just go for a run. And I don't disregard that, because it's how you start.
Yeah.
When you start getting on that journey, then after that you realize, oh, there are other things that you can work on. But that's not the only thing, the end all and be all, because there's so many things to train for your body continuously.
That's right. So
Yeah.
you mentioned about that being a hit bunny at one point. So at what stage do you realize that it wasn't all encompassing, that you weren't seeing the results that you were hoping to see?
I love how you said that I did not see the results. And that's the thing, hit training is mostly endurance, or rather anything that is cardio based, that is all endurance. You do not really, if we're talking like changing the physique,
Mhm.
then it's a completely different thing. That is where you need to do some kind of resistance training. It will, I'm sorry, you can change your physique a little bit from doing something like cardio and hit. You will see a drop in, like, say, fat,
That's right.
and even weight, but that is mostly water weight that will
Mm.
go off. But if you're talking about how you want to get that nice tone, define, I won't even call it tone anymore. Actually, I don't like that definition because people have a misconception about the word tone. But if you want to get a very defined look, you want to get that solid curves
Yeah.
in certain areas, you need to be able to put the muscle under tension.
Right.
And the only way to do that is by doing resistance training.
That's
So
right.
yeah, coming back to where you said, where did I see this?
Yes.
I was doing it so often, and I was like, why is it I can never see abs coming out? Or why is it like my arms still look big?
Yeah.
I do not look solid.
Yeah.
I look soft.
Mm.
It's like, yeah, I work out so hard. I'm doing like 30 minutes, 45 minutes, or I'll be spending ridiculous hours just doing like, just getting a sweat on. And yes, you're sweating a lot, but I did not see the difference. So what is up with that?
Yep.
And then that's when I went on the journey to search of like, how can I make myself different? How can I make my physique look different?
Right.
And so it's a very long process, and it's a journey because you learn best from experiences.
Yep.
And for me, it was at that early stage. Man, that was like what, more than 10 years ago when that happened. And then I only started really training in my last, say, 6 years. Yeah,
Right.
last 6 years that I really started understanding more about training, and I'm still learning even till today.
Fair enough. And I'm sure many of our viewers out there, especially the women, are also on that journey, but they could be at the starting point. You're obviously at a more advanced level, but as you say, you're still learning. Now, for the benefit of our women, we always hear this. Women are asking, my butt doesn't look nice. How can I get a nice, perky, gravity-defying butt? So yeah.
But okay,
we all can wish, right? So that's a question that a lot of them ask. So you are obviously someone who has done something about it. So can you just share what are misconceptions about butt exercises? What are effective and what aren't?
okay. I think the first one which I want to talk about is how and I admit that I was also fault to saying something like this, which is activating your butt. The thing is, your butt is already activated. The fact that I'm standing up, that you're
Right.
standing and we're just moving, that means your butt is activated. Okay. So when people say like, oh, you gotta do these butt activating moves, I think maybe the more appropriate term is by saying your how to get it more not say activated, it's more, what's the word, prime to
Okay.
do certain movements
Mm.
which can enhance the training effect that you want.
Okay.
So okay, I would say the misconceptions of getting a perky butt is to do many, 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 many reps of just the band. You know, the little band is like the booty
Oh,
band,
right,
or
right,
the, yeah. So yes, that is good, but in order to grow the butt, I'm sorry, by doing many like clamshells and glute bridges on
Yeah.
the floor alone, it will get it going. But you, in order for the butt to grow, you need a few things.
Right.
Number one, you need to eat right. Okay, that's the most crucial thing. Number two, you need to be able to lift heavier weights
Mm,
for your glutes and for your legs. And number three, do a variety of glute exercises or leg exercises. And number four, you got to recover.
mm.
Yeah. So I say these are the four things that in I'm just putting it in general,
Yep.
okay, of what you probably need to do in order to get that nice perky butt.
Right.
So eating right, protein is very important,
Okay.
and the reason is because a lot of females, and I would say sometimes even guys, you do not get enough protein.
Yep.
And I'm not talking about protein powder. That is a supplement. I'm talking about actual wholesome foods that comes from your chicken, your fish, your meats,
Yep.
your seafood, anything, or even from your chickpeas for those who are vegan or beans. Getting enough protein is essential because that is your muscles are made up from protein,
Yep.
and you need to repair that. On top of that, I mean, the protein is necessary for many other things, which is your antibodies, your enzymes, your hormones, and whatnot. But if you are not eating enough, how do you expect your body to grow?
Yep.
So it's like almost like a weird chicken and egg situation. Females, they want to be able to have that butt, but they also want to look small. And then in the end, what they do is, I'm going to eat very little, I'm
Yep.
going to cardio a lot, but I want the butt. So
Yeah.
I'm like,
It's contradicting,
it's
right?
so contradicting. Yeah. You got to be able to eat well, sleep well, train smart.
Yep.
These are the main pillars I would actually look at.
Right. Very, very interesting. Now,
Yeah,
you brought.
and sorry, and then
Yep.
to talk about the variety. So let's just say we're talking purely about the butt, right?
Yep.
So there's the gluteus minimus, medius, and the maximus. And in order for you to, your butt, ladies and gents, is the biggest muscle group in your entire body. So I think we were talking about it a while back that most of the time we are seated down.
Yes.
We don't actually work this muscle very much at
Yep.
all. So now think about it, right? Logically, that's your biggest muscle group. So then I would then propose this question. Ask yourself, why is it the biggest muscle group? If it's the biggest, there must be a purpose
Mm.
for why it is
Yep.
big. And if that's so, what exactly is it taking care of in your body? What exactly is it going to move in your body? So perhaps when you think of questions like these, you go like, okay, if that is meant to do this purpose, then I need to be able to help it become more efficient in functioning that way. So let's just say, for example, I'll take running.
Yep.
Running is a nice example because that one uses quite a fair bit amount of joints in different areas, especially your lower half.
That's right.
So I started recently running. And when I spoke to my physio, because I said I wanted to be able to enhance the running or just fast sprinting capability, and you say, oh, the one thing that you should really work on is your glutes,
Mm.
because your glutes are your stabilizers for your hip.
Mm.
And if this part is stable, then everything else, or rather, the upper portion and the lower portion would be how do you say, it's stable enough for whatever kind of
Yep.
movement that you want to do, and it's going to help because it's like one big long chain. This is like the piece that
That's right.
connects everything
Holds
together.
everything together, align you in terms of
One portion that
one portion, right?
one portion of it, because I mean there's many things that also connect
That's
your
right.
upper and your lower, but your glutes are really important. So think about it. Why is your glutes so big?
Yep.
I mean, if you think about it in like a just standing wise, right?
Mhm.
So this is so heavy. So
Yep.
you gotta get something else to make sure that you are proportionate on the other side.
Right.
And I would say do a variety of movements. We also spoke about this of how we think that to get the booty, you got to be doing squats every day and all day. So I would say that if you really want to get a perky butt and strengthen your glute, do stuff like hip thrusts, glute bridges, deadlifts, your let's see, sumo squats. So I just named like four here,
Yep.
but that's what I'm trying to say. Do a variety.
Mix it up, right?
Mix it up, because your body is not just meant for one plane. It's not just meant for one exercise. You are meant to move it in multiple facets, in multiple angles, and that's one way of how you can get you're able to recruit more muscle fibers by working a lot of things.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, you brought up a very interesting point just now in terms of working out. Now, working out is just one aspect of it. Diet is the other aspect. And a lot of people out there, as you have alluded to, neglect diet. They go to the gym 3 hours, 5 days a week. But if you don't eat right, you don't get the nutrients, then you won't be able to see the results. And
Mm.
especially we live in Malaysia, where it's a food haven, and unfortunately, a lot of food out there is not the most conducive in terms of helping you grow in the right manner. So we have to balance it out, right? In fact, if anything, we have to focus on our diet, because that's where we get all our nutrients from.
Mm.
And then, in order for us to grow.
Actually, there's so many layers to what I want to talk about here,
Mm,
because nutrition is a very, very important thing, and it's about understanding. Once again, it's the awareness of understanding what foods are for
yeah,
your body. So I look at myself as a functional eater, and food to me is fuel for the body. And it took me a very long time. Okay, guys, it took a very long time for me to understand stuff like this, to understand what actually ingredients
right.
do help and will affect my body type, or rather just my body in general. So most of the time, we've never been taught in school
Yep.
to look at food labels or look at
Right.
ingredients.
Yes, that's
I
true.
mean, in school, you just know, okay, ini nasi,
Mm,
itu carbohydrate, you
just
know?
that's it. Yeah.
Yeah, and then chicken is protein.
Mm,
And then veggie, anything which is green.
yep.
You know? But you never understand, like, what is the purpose? Once again, I'm coming back to this
Yep.
big word, which is purpose. What is the purpose and function for each of these food groups?
Yep.
Why do you actually need them? I mean, I remember very briefly that we spoke about it in biology, but obviously just went you know, like it's like as a kid, what
Yeah.
do you care? It's like I
Yeah.
just want to eat.
Yeah.
Like just
Yeah.
give me like my what roti canai
Yeah.
and whatnot.
Not like I can use this in my real life, right?
Yeah,
Back then.
yeah, exactly. The
Yeah.
thing
It's
is
like
like you
okay.
never think like you can use it in real life. That's
Yeah.
application.
Yeah.
And that's where I think it's really important for the adults, the teachers, educate yourself
Yeah.
too about nutrition so that you can pass it on to the kids, because they're very smart these days. They have a wealth of information. It's just about who exactly is nurturing them. So start in the house, teach them exactly what are the types of food they have, and teach them to eat a lot of color, and that's just teaching about the awareness. So coming back again, the lack of awareness of understanding about ingredients and the purpose for food, I think if we taught more of that in schools and also at homes,
Yep.
would be great. But then again, the parents also don't always know,
That's true.
because let's say my generation, our generation, right? I didn't know about stuff like this
Yep.
until a few years back. So I can only imagine for a number of people how much that they have not been exposed to stuff like this. So that's why I've been putting this so much on my social media and just putting out wherever, like even talking to you, word of mouth,
Yep.
that I try to encourage as
Yeah.
much as possible to understand more about food.
That's true. Makes so
Yeah.
much sense that now taking food on a deeper level, we have people now looking in terms of calorie counting,
Ah, yes.
checking my macros and all
Yeah.
that kind of thing. So they're trying to take it to the next level.
Sure.
Now, what are your thoughts in terms of that? That kind of concept, or trying to balance out the meals and the requirements.
Okay, so calorie counting, macronutrient ratios, those are really good as tools,
Yep.
so that you understand first about proportions and how much food you can be taking in if you want to change your physique. And the reason I say that too is because I used that method when I first started doing bikini bodybuilding.
Right.
And that's, like I said, it's a very good tool so that you are aware of how much food you're eating, what kind of food you're eating, and what kind of ratio that you should be having for, say, your protein, carbs, and your fats. And while it is good, but I also think that people need to be aware of when they can pull back, because then it becomes a numbers game. It's like people go like, oh yeah, I should be hitting like 1,750 calories every
Yeah.
day, and I shouldn't go beyond
That's
that.
right.
I get that, because I was also at that point like, oh no, I can't hit that amount of calories, and I'll be like, I'll get depressed about it.
Yeah.
I'll get frustrated. And the other one is the macronutrient ratio as well. Also important, but once again, if you're looking at numbers, it kind of play with your head a lot, and that's not how you should be living life. I say once again, it's a great tool if you have a coach with you, or if you want to understand a little bit more of how foods, how your body is reacting to foods. Then use the calorie counting, use the macronutrients ratio as a guide. as a guide, so you know
Yeah.
your baseline. And like for me, I know for a fact, the calories I would probably have to consume, if we're talking just calories, yeah, not even on food source
Yep.
yet. For me, I think if it's anything below 1,000, by like say 1,005, 1,000, yeah, 1,005, 1,004, that's a good number for me to actually get leaner.
Right.
Yeah, if I want to cut back. But if say I want to maintain 1,000, I think 1,057,
Yep.
1,007 would be just nice, or even 2,000 calories. Yeah. So right now I'm hovering around the 1,7 to 2,000 just to maintain.
Okay.
Yeah. If we're talking macronutrients, however, as well, if say I want to change my physique further, so we got the calorie count, now we got the macronutrient, then for my body type, I would amp up the protein a lot more. I would have a good amount of fats. I would lessen the carbs. That is for my body type because I know that would work for me. If say I were to change the ratio of reducing the protein and say amping up the carb and the fat, which is pretty much the usual
Yep.
ratio for most of us, I know for a fact I am not going to be able to look as lean as I want.
Right.
So we're talking here just body physique transformation. Um, but in the end, food is food.
Yep.
So once again, I already said food is fuel.
Yep.
So see how foods actually work for you at the same time. Then we go deeper into ingredients. So we got calories,
Yep.
then we got macronutrients. Then after that, I would consider what are the ingredients and where are the
The
sources.
quality, right?
The
The quality of the
quality.
food at the end
Yeah.
of the day.
So let's say, for example, your fish and chicken. I would want to know where my chicken is from. I
Mm.
want to know whether my chicken has been filled with antibiotics
Antibiotics,
or not.
hormones, yep.
The fish that I eat, salmon, I would like to know whether it's wild caught or
That's
is it
right.
farmed.
Farm, yep.
And same with the beef that I eat. Is it a
Grass-fed,
grass-fed beef or non-grass-fed? Is it grain-fed?
Yep.
And because what the animal eats matters also to you because you are consuming that as your food.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Makes a lot of sense there. So not all calories are equal, right?
No,
Because
it's not.
there's some misconception there. This calorie from this pack of chips is this the same thing from this calorie from this chicken breast? But
Yeah.
it's not.
No. Well, first of all, they're two different groups. That's one,
Mm.
food groups. And the other thing is, take for example an apple, an
Mm.
apple tree. Okay, so the apple, which is in the inner branch, has different calories compared to the apple which is outside in the
Wow,
sun.
I never knew that.
Yeah, if you think about it,
It
because
looks the same, right?
it looks the same, sure. But
Exactly.
you see, you think about it, the apple that is outside the sun is getting more nutrients, whereas the one that is inside the branch or hidden from the
Yep.
sun may not get as much. So that's why you can't also say like an apple from the same tree is going to have the same amount of calories unless you do a test, which is you burn it up and then you take it to the lab. You're like,
That's right.
okay,
But you
Yeah.
can't eat it now. All right.
yeah,
Anyway.
exactly. So calorie counting is not going to be the end all be all. It's a rough gauge,
Yep.
but it's impossible for you to really know how much calories is in a particular piece of food.
That's right. But you can do your best in terms of finding where the food is sourced. That's a
Yeah.
good starting point, right?
Yes, I would say that's actually the best starting
Yeah.
point because that way you know that. Once again, for me, I would always encourage anybody and my clients eat something which is wholesome.
Yep.
Wholesome, which is from the ground. I like to put it this way. For those of you who know this legend in the fitness industry, his name is Charles Poliquin, Strength Sensei, and he taught my coach, which is Benjamin Seong from Learn ASP. That's he. Benno is pretty much the one that has taught me a whole lot more about holistic eating, holistic training, and just living well. So if the stuff you eat these days, okay, once upon a time it did not fly, it did
Yeah.
not walk, it did not swim, it did not run,
Yep.
it didn't breathe at all, then that is not normal. I mean, it's not natural.
Yep.
Don't eat it.
That's
If
right.
it came from a box in a factory,
That's right.
you should try to avoid it.
That's
That's
right.
how I like to put things into
That's right.
perspective.
And you should also try to focus on food that comes from the ground.
Yeah,
Naturally. That's very
yeah,
important, right?
naturally, yeah.
Exactly. Not processed in any sense. Now, I'm glad you brought up about finding information online and where you have sourced it. Now, there is a lot
There's a
of
lot.
information out there in the internet. While there's some good stuff, there's some bad stuff. Obviously, it's a double-edged sword. So for people out there trying to find guidance from the internet, and there's so much information, how do they go about it in order to get the right advice rather than the fake ones, for example?
Define the fake ones.
Okay, things which are maybe not scientifically proven. You know, you always see on the internet transformation in 2 months by
Ah.
doing so and so, and then it's like very marketing, very sales like kind of thing. And people like the quick fix. Everyone wants instant gratification. But in reality, it's not that easy, right?
No, it's
It's not.
not.
And you are someone obviously who have been in this, and you've been searching for information, and in terms the right information. So how does a person find or go towards the information that's correct? What are the tips when they go online, for example?
Honestly, it's actually hard because everyone is going to go through their own journey.
Yeah.
I went through that journey too, where I thought fat burners was the way to go.
I tried that.
Yeah, you tried that too,
I
right?
tried that
Yeah,
too.
and then only much later on, someone told me, "Oh no, that is actually quite nonsense, and
Okay.
you got to be careful too with fat burners." But I would say this is where it's once again about encouraging people to think.
Yep.
And most of the time, we don't want to think. We just want to, okay, just show me, do,
Yeah.
and that's it. Just tell me what
Yep.
exactly I have to do.
Yeah.
Because I also, once again, I was like that too. I said to my coach, all right, you just tell me what to do.
To
I
get
will
these
do.
results, right?
Yeah.
And then you
And
just
what-
follow religiously.
And what he said to me is like, no, I'm going to be your eyes. You think.
Wow. Yeah.
So I remember that time when he said it to me, I'm like, man, I gotta think. Actually,
I thought I'm paying you to think for me. Yeah.
yeah. It's true. But I see the value of where he said something like that
Yeah.
because in the end, you want everyone to be independent, to be able to make their own the decisive.
And be responsible for themselves. Right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's what it
Because
should
it's
be
about
like.
you.
You should be independent for yourself, for
Yep.
your own body. And okay, so to just real quickly to say how you can find that when you find a particular person, if it sounds like it's something that they've never that you've never heard of before, that's a good way to start. Like, oh, okay, this could be something. Now,
Okay.
what is this person all about? Let's go and research a little bit more. Research a little bit more about him, and then I would also say look at the certifications that the person have,
Mm.
because if the person is just I don't want to this, but if the person doesn't have any background
Yeah.
in how they actually study or research something, then that's questionable because they're
Right.
just going by the sake of experience. And the thing is, there's only so much you can know from understanding the body based on what you see in the mirror.
Yep.
You got to understand what is the purpose. Once again, I come back to that big word,
Yeah.
purpose of everything in your body. If a person can actually speak to you on that level, saying like, this is because of this, because you are down to your cells. I think training is way more than that. You should understand the whole anatomy of your body. Why exactly do we even have a mitochondria in our
Right.
cells? Why do our cells behave in such
That's
a
right.
way? I think it's important for you to ask those questions. And maybe from then, I mean, not everyone is going to, but if you're listening in, this is probably the one of the times that you can start questioning stuff like this, and then maybe you will be able to find the fake news from the real news. And even then, science also will make you see everything like this. You need to see it in the broader perspective. So once again, purpose.
Right.
Purpose for your training, purpose for your food, purpose for your body.
Right. So when you're looking for information out there, it's good to exercise a bit of common sense as well. If you're not sure about something, research about it more, because as I say, there's a lot of information out there. And like you put it, it's always good to have some scientific and theoretical background behind it as well to give you the holistic picture, right? Not just purely from experience, but also from a learning perspective as well. Now we are running out of time right now.
Yeah.
Can you just share with us a parting shot to all our viewers out there, both female and male as well? If they want to start their journey, obviously a lot of people want to start but haven't started yet. What advice can you give them to make that first move?
First one I would say is just begin. Get up and go.
Do something, is it?
Do something. Do something. It could be even as simple as getting up to go brush your teeth, and that could be a habit already
Yep.
for you.
Start small, right?
Start small.
Baby steps.
Baby steps. And the second one is have a friend. Get someone who you can pinpoint. Say, hey, you know what? I want to do this. Can you do it with me? Help
Yep.
me be accountable. Because when you have someone who can help you journey along with you on that, the journey seems way more fun,
Yes.
and it's also where it could push you to be more competitive to improve yourself.
Yeah.
So I'll say first one is just get started. Don't think so
Yep.
much. It's almost like setting at a ledge and just
Yep.
saying, okay, I'm gonna go for it.
Yep.
Just start.
Yep.
And then get a friend.
Yep.
I would say actually I would almost say get someone first,
Mm,
then just start. Because then you go like, I'll go like, Raj, I want to do this. Do it with me, please.
yep.
So at least then you go like, I thought you were going to say that you want to do that. So then you can't help but
Right.
yeah. Even Arnold Schwarzenegger had a gym buddy. He always would have a gym buddy, and unless you have your own intricate motivation,
Yep.
was what's the word? Okay,
Discipline.
your own motivation, then it's easier if you do it single. But
Yep.
if not, I believe that everyone derives from one another. We inspire each
Yep.
other and encourage one another. So get a friend.
That's right. I mean, makes total sense as well because I find it difficult to work out alone because I don't have that self discipline, drive, or motivation to do it.
Until
But
I
you're
call
right.
you.
Until she called me and say, Raj, would you like to join me for our workout? Yes, please. So, end of the day, it's so true. Support is so important because you can motivate each other, you can drive each other, and more importantly, you can hold each other accountable. And hopefully, at the same time, you will have fun as well, right? Because
Yeah,
it's all about fun.
it's you gotta have fun
If
in
you don't
life.
have fun in life, you're going to have problems as well.
Yeah.
All right, fantastic. Lenora, thank you so much for all your insights today. We
Thank
hope
you.
all you viewers have taken something away as well for the ladies. Yep, what you need to do in terms of having that nice booty. And then for all of us, aside from working out, diet is so crucial as well. My name is Raj Aria. We hope you enjoyed this session. Do stay tuned for many wonderful sessions throughout this last and final day here at the Global Online Women's Summit. Take care.
It began with a bold vision to build KL Metropolis, a development that would establish a new international trade and exhibition district in Malaysia, built in partnership with the government by NASA Group's property arm, NASA TTDI. The crown jewel of this grand vision is the Malaysia International Trade and Exhibition Center, the preferred international destination for exhibitions and events. Like the fine gold and silver threads of the Songket weave that inspired its facade design, MyTech is the embodiment of refined craftsmanship, creativity, and precision. As Malaysia's largest exhibition center, MyTech's functional spaces are unprecedented. Primed for exceptional displays, surrounded by state-of-the-art facilities and amenities. This iconic structure affirms a commitment to innovative excellence. It is a showpiece of engineering ingenuity. An enduring icon built for a new Malaysian era of success.